Hi everyone, welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. Today I'm going to talk about a new innovative ingredient called Upscale 200 from Bartek. There are a few advantages with this particular ingredient, and one of the biggest one is its ability to increase the pores of your breadcrumb. And what I've learned the more I talk to Bartek is you can actually use this ingredient to create a short time straight dough ciabatta. Okay? And to help me understand this particular technology a little bit more, I have Jane here with me, Dr. Jane from the Wheat Marketing Center.
Hi everyone.
Jane, what I've seen in their experiments is when you use Upscale 200, you actually get bigger pore size.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
You do get bigger pore sizes,
Yes.
especially in straight dough products.
Right, and it's as you can see from this graph, this is a 75% absorption ciabatta dough, straight dough, right? And this is one, you actually improve the absorption at 78%, right? How much upscale did we use?
That's a 1% level.
1%?
Yeah.
Okay. So besides opening up the pores for the ciabatta product, what did you see rheologically?
So some interesting things. The first of which is that we did see a reduction in mix time. It was fairly similar to L-cysteine actually at like a 50 parts per million dosage level, so fairly normal level. The other thing we saw was that there was an improvement in dough handling properties. So
what do you mean? What kind of improvement?
the dough was stronger and a little bit more robust. So if you're talking about a traditional artisan ciabatta, it's a very fragile dough.
Yeah.
You have to be very delicate with it. And so adding that upscale just made it a little bit stronger, a little bit more robust. So if you're trying to put it on an automated line, it's going to withstand that machining a lot better
Oh, that's interesting.
than a traditional ciabatta.
Okay, so how would you quantify that?
So one of the first things I would do to quantify that is we have instrumentation that can help us measure mix time. So you can use an instrument like the Chopin Mixolab and compare the mix time of the flour by itself to the flour plus upscale, for example, and also compare it to the flour plus L-cysteine, just for the sake of comparison, since they both elicit a reduction in mix time, and you can see how comparable or not that they are.
That's awesome. Now, before we get into those results, can you just quickly show us how do you run a Mixolab?
Yeah, not a problem. It is a fully enclosed instrument, so basically all you really have to do is make sure that you're adding the flour and that you're putting the nozzle in at the right time to add the water, and the instrument does the rest. And so when you set up a test, and today we're using the Chopin Plus protocol, so everything is already automatically entered on the left-hand side. All we need to do is enter the moisture content of the flour, the water absorption that we want to target, and it will automatically calculate how much flour we need to add. It adds the water automatically to achieve 75 grams of dough, and the rest is just measuring the torque and letting it do its job.
You know, when I was running Mixolabs like 20 years ago, you gotta calculate all that.
I know. There's a whole new generation of technicians that are incredibly spoiled because the software is so nice.
Okay.
So
Let's see how it goes.
let's go ahead and start the test here. Whoops. And lock the mixing bowl. So the great thing is that it prompts you and it shows you a physical video.
Foolproof. You'll never go wrong here.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So the flour goes right into the hopper.
Yep.
Okay. And it's already starting to mix.
Yes. And so it will do 1 minute of premixing just the flour, just to get the flour up to the temperature of the mixing bowl.
Right. Okay.
And then all we have to do is insert the nozzle, and normally I would wipe that nozzle first just to get rid of any condensation that may have built up. And I have it.
Oh,
There we
look.
go.
It actually shows what to do.
Yes. And so
go
it
wrong
shows
there.
you exactly how to put it in. It even shows you where the pin is,
Oh, nice.
so that you get it oriented properly.
And then what do you do after that?
And then this nozzle will automatically dose the water.
Oh, wow.
And you'll start
Foolproof.
to, so you see a minute of the test time has
Oh.
elapsed.
Cool.
It's dosing water right now.
Nice.
And then you'll start to see the torque build.
I can hear it actually.
And so you see the torque starting to build as the water is added. And then with any luck, we'll hit in the target range here between the two dashed lines.
Okay. What if you don't?
What if you don't? You can stop the test, clean it out, start over again.
Start again. Okay.
And
well, what do you manipulate? Do you manipulate the moisture?
you would manipulate how much water you're adding.
Okay.
And so you would basically, what this will do is you can ask it to tell you what the predicted water absorption is, and then you could use that the next time you would input that for the targeted water absorption for the test.
Okay. And usually how long does this test run for?
The whole test takes 45 minutes. However, the first 8 minutes is strictly the mixing portion at 30 degrees Celsius. So designed to tell you if, for example, if we would see a reduction in mix time or not. The rest of it, you actually apply a temperature ramp and hold. You start to look at the starch properties more so than the gluten properties.
Okay.
And the nice thing about this test is that you're actually working with a dough and not a concentrated slurry, or not a more dilute slurry. So you understand how the starch is going to behave when heat is applied in an actual dough and not more of a slurry or batter type system.
Got it. Got it. Now, let's go back to talking about upscale. Okay? Can we do that?
Yep.
All right. Okay. So upscale, let's talk about the graph. All right. What do we see in the graph here?
So what we're looking at here is we're looking at basically the first 8 to 10 minutes where really all you're doing is mixing the dough and the water, the flour and the water. Mm-hmm. And we're looking at the peak or the development times for these doughs. So you can see that this blue line here, in the absence of any ingredient, the mix time is pretty long. You're basically going the full 8 minutes without seeing a major peak. Mm-hmm. As soon as you add L-cysteine, which is the industry standard, you get about a 5-minute mix time. And so the L-cysteine is this green line here. When you add 1% of the Upscale 200, you actually achieve the same 5-minute mix time. So you're chopping about at least 3 minutes off of your mix time using L-cysteine. You can match that using 1% Upscale 200 and chop 3 minutes off of your mix time.
So it's actually showing more benefits than L-cysteine.
Right, you see a very, very defined peak here, and so you
Right.
can see that it's becoming very strong very quickly. And then you also see the sharp drop off here, which is also kind of an indicator of strength that shows that you're going to start over mixing it quickly, and so it is critical to get it out of the mixer before you start over mixing.
Great. Is there anything else that you saw in the mixogram itself, or in the Chopin test that makes it stand out from the control dough?
We did see some alterations in terms of starch properties. Mechanistically, we're not quite sure how to explain them yet, but there are some changes that occur when you add the Upscale 200. It alters those starch properties during heat, so during baking. And I think we'll see some of those results when we talk about texture later on. And it was really interesting to observe that in the Mixolab, because like I said, you have that actual dough system, and it's exciting to kind of watch that and then see that play out in the bread itself.
Okay. So that's all we have for today in terms of understanding the rheological properties of Upscale 200. It's been a great Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you for sharing this wisdom tip with our users. And we will see you again next week. To get your sample of Upscale 200, go to our sponsor showcase and contact Bartek to look for a sample, okay? And I just want you to know, if you want more information too on Chopin Mixolab, they are also on our sponsor showcase. So give them a shout out and contact them and see what a Mixolab can do for you. I want to thank Dr. Jane here today at the Wheat Marketing Center. Now, Dr. Jane also runs any kinds of wheat flour tests. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So if you need to run any kind of rheological or crumb or texture or what do you call proximate analysis?
Yeah.
Reach out to Dr. Jane here at the Wheat Marketing Center and she can run those for you. So thank you for coming on to this week's Wisdom Wednesday, guys. I will see you next week. Bye.